Making headlines tonight. The Prime Minister urges caution and vigilance as he expresses concerns about the Delta variant ahead of Pachumbin. Heavy traffic out of Phnom Penh as tens of thousands of people head to their home provinces for the holiday. And that volcanic eruption in the Canary Islands gets worse as part of the volcano collapses. This is the Daily Roundup on the EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Andrew Barnes-Roberts. Prime Minister Hun Sen has urged a strengthening of COVID-19 measures during and after Pachumbin, which starts on Tuesday. Despite having suspended the actual festivals of Canben and Pachumbin, the Prime Minister says he wants the three-day national holiday to be conducted in as safe and responsible a manner as possible. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the story.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has called on all ministries, capital provincial administrators, institutions, organizations, and stakeholders to implement more stringent COVID-19 measures for Pachumbin. He says many will be traveling to meet family across the country, which will put the kingdom at risk of large-scale transmission, especially of the Delta variant. To help protect lives, while the kingdom moves towards what the Prime Minister has called a full relaunch of the country, he has made a number of recommendations. He says people must pay close attention and strictly implement the Ministry of Health's preventative measures, most especially the 3 do's and 3 don'ts. The Prime Minister says tourism's safety rules must also be tightened and standard operating procedures issued by the Ministry of Tourism must be implemented at resorts, restaurants, and cafeterias. When Pachumbin is over, he wants all ministries, institutions, and the private sector, most especially educational institutions and those factories, enterprises, and businesses with a large number of workers to conduct rapid tests of all returning employees. Lastly, the Prime Minister has called on all citizens to increase their vigilance during the Pachumbin holiday and adhere to all safety measures while respecting administrative and legal measures aimed at protecting everyone from the pandemic. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
Heavy traffic has been reported out of Phnom Penh all day as tens of thousands of people make their way to their provinces for the Pachumbin holiday. Roads are expected to be heavily congested throughout Monday and Tuesday, with some office workers having had to work on Monday before the holiday begins.
The heaviest traffic on Monday was reported at the top of Manivong Boulevard, with no Stuteo traffic heading north out of the city and onto National Roads 5 and 6. National Roads 3 and 4 south in the direction of the coast were also heavily congested. This is the first time since 2019 that the vast majority of Phnom Penh residents have been able to take advantage of Pachumbin and get out of the capital for a few days. While the holiday was observed last year, intermittent border closures because of the pandemic meant many people canceled their trips and opted to stay home. Traffic is expected to pick up again on Thursday, with most people due back at work on Friday.
Pachumbin is a 3-day national holiday. It's the culmination of the 15-day Canben festival, which started on the 22nd of September. It is celebrated in a Buddhist fashion, but it's not actually a Buddhist festival, as EAC News reporter Reo Soko explains.
People bring flowers to pagodas, candles and incense being lit for prayer, foods being offered to the monks, traditional music using yaik and lakun basak reverberating in these sacred places. At night, monks recite a prayer. These are just some of the activities during the Pachumbin festival, one of the most important festivals in the Khmer calendar for Buddhist people. This is the time when Cambodians pay respects to their deceased relatives of up to 7 generations. Cambodians usually travel to the provinces to meet with their relatives. This is the time to offer food to what they call the hungry ghosts. It refers to the spirits of their deceased loved ones. The rainy season means a rest for farmers, since farming is the main source of income for the majority of Cambodians. But after working throughout the year, the older generation of Khmers explain how important Pichumbin is to them.
It is important. First, we need to maintain the Buddhist tradition that our ancestors have been celebrating every year since the beginning of Buddhism. Second, it is our devotion to our dead relatives, because they cannot touch, hold, and see things like we all do. We dedicate the merits to the monks.
However, this year's Pichumbin is being observed in a safer way after Prime Minister Hun Sen, together with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Cults and Religions, decided to suspend the biggest religious holiday in Cambodia. But people can still celebrate at their homes to prevent another outbreak of COVID-19 in the kingdom.
This is very important to all Cambodian people because this is a Khmer festival, a Khmer tradition that people must respect to dedicate to their families who have passed away. I believe this is a tradition that has been practiced since the beginning of Cambodia.
Well-known monk and a professor of personal growth and virtue, behavior, leadership, Buddhism, and psychology development, Venerable Kusupyak explains how Pichumbin started.
So the story behind Pichumbin Festival goes back to the Buddha time. There's a story told that the ghosts come to the palace of the king of India, and those ghosts were the relatives of the king. They already passed away years ago. But the king was very frightened in the middle of the night and was scared and get up in the morning and went to the Buddha and asked him about those sound of yelling in the palace. And then the Buddha said that there's nothing wrong with you, but your long time relative just come to visit you and want you to help them. And then the king said, what can I help them? The Buddha suggests him to invite monks and offer food and dedicate the merit to his relative. And he did so, and the relative was very happy, rejoiced the merit of the king, and be born in a higher realm out of that merit.
The date varies every year. Usually, it starts within September, the rainy season in Cambodia. Khmer Buddhists believe that this is the darkest month, a month that the ghosts come to visit their families. And both old and young Cambodians say they hugely value and believe in Pichumbin.
The rainy season signals that Canben and Pichumbin are near. Cambodians prepare to visit their relatives in the provinces while offering food to their ancestors at pagodas. However, with the COVID-19, it is expected that a much lower people will visit their local pagodas during this year's festival. Rhea Soko, EAC News, Nikrutuantal Kortiting, Phnom Penh.
After a weekend of daily COVID-19 cases not exceeding 200, Cambodia reported 219 on Monday, with recoveries far outpacing new cases once again. This massive downward trend in reported cases is linked to the Health Ministry's new policy of reporting only those cases confirmed through PCR tests and not rapid testing. It means the number of active cases is dropping, down to 6,197 patients currently receiving treatment either at home or in hospital. The Ministry of Health confirmed the 219 new cases just before Monday lunchtime. There have been 457 recoveries in the past 24 hours, but 23 more deaths. The new numbers take the kingdom's total COVID-19 case tally to 113,475. The death toll has reached 2,406. The number of patients treated successfully has climbed to 104,408. 22 would-be migrant workers have been arrested for trying to cross the border into Thailand. They were picked up on Sunday night by the Border Guard military force in cooperation with the Infantry Brigade and Border Police at 3 different locations in one Banteay Meanchey commune. Commander of the Border Guard, General Kun Chun, has told EAC News that the 22 Cambodian workers included 9 women. He says before they were taken into quarantine, they were ordered to stop trying to cross the border illegally and were advised to do all they could to stop the spread of COVID-19. The workers were handed over for a medical examination before being taken to their commune's quarantine center. Cambodia and other countries around the world are currently battling the pandemic, but that doesn't mean the kingdom's humanitarian work has stopped. Last Friday, Cambodia sent 300 blue helmets to Mali in order to replace 300 others whose tour of duty had been completed. On Sunday, those peacekeepers returned to a warm welcome at Phnom Penh International Airport. EAC News reporter Yuri Matosko has the story.
On Friday of last week, Cambodia sent 300 blue helmets to join the UN's Explosive Ordnance Disposal Squadron and the Airport Maintenance Engineering Squadron in Mali. They were the 8th batch of peacekeepers the kingdom has contributed to the UN's peacekeeping mission in the country. The troops they have replaced landed back in the kingdom on Sunday morning to a reception ceremony. It was presided over by General Sam Savani. All the returning blue helmets were tested for COVID-19 and all tested negatives, but are still in quarantine at the Multinational Peacekeeping Forces Training School in Kampong Speu. Since 2006, Cambodians' blue helmets have contributed to peacekeeping operations in 9 countries. The kingdom currently has a force of nearly 800 blue helmets, including 80 women. They carry out peacekeeping missions for the United Nations in Lebanon, Sudan, Mali, and the Central African Republic. Yuri Matosko, EAC News.
The volcanic eruption on Spain's Canary Islands is gathering strength almost 2 weeks after it started on the island of La Palma. Local media report that the north side of the volcano has now collapsed, causing the flow of lava to speed up. Red-hot lava is seen exploding high into the air from the Cumbre Vieja volcano. Its partial collapse has formed a new lava flow that is threatening several nearby towns. Amid reports of intense activity and a string of earthquakes, fresh cracks have sent scorching rivers of molten rock down towards the sea. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez says his government will approve 206 million euros of aid funding this week. Despite the more aggressive eruption, he is encouraging tourists who are considering visiting La Palma not to be put off. Tourism is the Canary Islands' main industry. Since it started erupting last month, the volcano has destroyed more than 900 buildings. About 6,000 people have been evacuated. Well, now for a look at some other news making headlines around the world this Monday, the 4th of October.
At least 5 people have been killed and 4 others injured in an explosion outside the Eidgah Mosque in the Afghan capital. A shopkeeper says he heard an explosion followed by gunfire. Seemingly acting on intelligence, the Taliban had blocked the road shortly before the blast. There were about 35 people in the area when the explosion hit. Sunday's attack targeted a memorial service for the mother of the Taliban's Deputy Minister of Information and Culture. The bombing was the first to target the Afghan capital since the Islamic State claimed responsibility for a twin suicide bombing at Kabul's international airport. The attack killed 169 Afghans and 13 U.S. service members.
South Korea has celebrated its 73rd Armed Forces Day with air and sea drills, as well as an amphibious landing exercise in the very bay where the U.S. staged its first military landing during the Korean War in July 1950. The ceremony was attended by South Korean President Moon Jae-in. The president says he has faith in the army and is confident in the country's strong defense readiness. He made a declaration to end the war on the Korean peninsula and usher in a new era of reconciliation and cooperation. The ceremony came hours after North Korea said it had fired a newly developed anti-aircraft missile, claiming its weapons tests are aimed at boosting its defense capabilities.
And an oil pipeline has failed off the coast of Orange County, California, causing almost 500,000 liters of oil to spill into the Pacific Ocean. It's created a 15 square kilometer slick that continues washing ashore at Huntington Beach, leaving dead fish and birds trail on the sand. Cleanup crews are racing to try and contain the spill. 9 boats are responding to the round-the-clock cleanup effort. Crews have deployed a 1-kilometer boom to help contain the oil, but the impact on the environment will be irreversible. Beaches remain closed to swimming, and the local air show has been cancelled.
Stay with the Daily Roundup. Coming up after the break, a look at the day's sports news. EAC News fully supports the Royal Government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EAC News' audience is growing. Our YouTube channel has over 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube. It's given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EAC News' hard work and incredible achievement. She says we brought a unique voice and style to the world, but have also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to YouTube and search for EAC News. Subscribers get alerts when the Daily Roundup is premiering and live events are streaming. Get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. The EAC News channel on YouTube. Cambodia made clear. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear. He might be one of the most unpopular football coaches in Europe, but Barcelona's Ronald Koeman will be remaining at the club, at least for now. He's thanked club president Joan Laporta for publicly giving him a vote of confidence, even as Koeman's squad had another dismal weekend in La Liga. Laporta might be eating his words after the Catalan club lost 2-0 to Atletico Madrid, but he did say he was willing to give the coach time to change the club's fortunes. Despite his boss's backing, Koeman acknowledged that things needed to change, with Barca having won just one of its last 6 games.
The only thing I can say, I think, is a question for the president. We've spoken about the situation with the team. I've given him my version of how I see things at the moment, and I have hope and trust that we can get better. We know perfectly well, especially in our tech, that we are lacking. Because we have different players right now. We play as a group in the midfield with people who are midfielders. Because right now, in the last few games, we haven't been able to play in the style that we want to. So we always have to try to squeeze out everything we can from the players, and we have available. And once again, it's a question for the president, not for me.
Barcelona sit bottom of their Champions League group with 2 defeats from 2 games and are 9th in La Liga, 5 points behind table-topping Real Madrid. Tom Brady has become the NFL's all-time leader in passing yards during his return to New England to play the Patriots on Sunday night. Brady completed a 28-yard pass to Tampa Bay Buccaneers teammate Mike Evans with just over 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Brady entered the game with 80,291 yards to his credit, needing just 68 to pass the previous record held by Drew Brees. Brees was watching the game in Foxborough as part of his pre-game and halftime analysis duties for NBC, which broadcast the game. 44-year-old Brady is in his 2nd season with the Buccaneers and has not announced any retirement plans as yet. That means he'll be adding even more yards to his tally to cement his place as one of the NFL's greatest players of all time. Brady spent 20 years with the Patriots, winning an unprecedented 6 Super Bowl titles. World number 2, Aryna Sabalenka, will not play at the Indian Wells tournament after testing positive for COVID-19. Her absence is another blow to the tournament, which starts on Monday with men's world number 1 Novak Djokovic, 2018 champion Naomi Osaka, and 23-time Grand Slam champion Serena Williams also not competing.
Aryna Sabalenka was the top seed in the women's draw at Indian Wells after world number 1 Ash Barty pulled out from the WTA 1000 event. Sabalenka took to Instagram at the weekend to say that, unfortunately, I've tested positive at Indian Wells and won't be able to compete. She'll be in isolation for the next 2 weeks while she waits for doctors to give her the all clear. Sabalenka has already qualified for the season-ending WTA finals. They are contested by the world's top 8 single players and 8 double teams. They will be held next month in Guadalajara, Mexico.
All right, let's take a look at how the weather's shaping up for Pichumbin. And finally, they say diamonds are forever and are also a girl's best friend. But diamonds are now also seen as Earth's best friend, at least the ones being produced by a new tech startup in New York. We all find them eye-catching, but these diamonds are catching the attention of investors looking to pump money into industries that are helping reduce carbon emissions. These sparklers are produced by ether diamonds, which is growing diamonds in a lab using captured carbon dioxide. That's carbon dioxide removed from the atmosphere rather than carbon mined from the ground.
So we have found that consumers are willing to pay a premium for stone like ours that is sourced in a way that is beneficial to the planet. And that gives us a kind of a unique competitive strength in the market. This allows us to do things that others can't. We dedicate a whole bunch of funding from the sale of every piece to further external decarbonization work. The company has a committed goal of removing 20 metric tons of CO2 from the atmosphere for every carat of diamond that we sell. And that would only be empowered by this revenue model.
And while they might be made out of the air no one wants, these diamonds don't come cheap. You can expect to pay anything from $1,000 to $45,000 for something off the shelf. For custom-made pieces, you're going to need considerably more cash. Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EAC News Channel. You'll get more breaking news and updates from our website. Head to www.eacnews.asia. You can also search for EAC News on Telegram and at your favorite app store. The Daily Roundup taking a break for Pichumben. I'll be back with you on Friday night at 8. In the meantime, enjoy the holidays and please stay safe.